purpose and the lesson he wants us to learn from that so that we can walk into our greatness. Number one, he wants you to know when it's time, you need to know when it's time to move, when it's time to bring your dream to another level. And in 2018, it is time to bring your dream into another level. I can go more into what the year 2018 represents and the number 18, but that'd be for another time. Actually, it's very interesting about the number 18 and the significance of it for us today. However, we're going to just go ahead and stick to this, and then I will do a video next time because it's going to really amaze you and it's going to really help you know that this is your time. But trust me, this is your time. And so Jesus said, you know what? It's time to cross over. And that's where I got the word for crossover. So who was he talking to? So he was talking to his disciples. He had some people to help him with his mission. And just the same with you. We always need to have people to help us with our mission. And so he was in around the Sea of Galilee area, in the area of Tiberias today. I'm not sure if it was called Tiberias back then, but I just came from Israel. And I was able to visit Mary Magdalene's home, and it's archaeologically tested and proven. So we know it was her home, and we know he visited her there, and it was an amazing trip. However, it was in that area, and what I found out about that area as I visited that site was that it was a Jewish community. And we know that Jesus was sent first to the Jews and then to the Gentiles. So he could not fulfill his full mission to go to the Gentiles unless he went, of course, where they were. And so that's why he told his disciples, you know what? Let's go cross over to the other side. Because he knew that he fulfilled part one of his mission. And he knew at that moment it was time for him to cross over and bring his ministry to another level. And so he told his disciples, hey guys, it's time to cross over. So that's the first lesson that we can learn from Jesus. Is he knew when it was time to move up to another level. And the same for us right now. We have to know that that's Mark chapter 4, verse 35, when he said, guys, let's cross over. So I want to say to you today, you know what, ladies? And if there's any gentlemen watching, it's time for us to cross over. And so this year, I'm dedicating this year into helping. I want to get, just like Jesus had 12, it'd be awesome if we could have 12 influential women who are ready to move, who are shakers and ready to just shake this world and just be great into their purpose and into their mission that God has for them. So I hope you're ready. All right, and then number 2, he sent the crowd away. And so the lesson that I was able to learn from there is don't let the good life keep you from the great life. Because Jesus could have said, you know what, boys, you know, it's great right here. We have a big crowd. We have a great following. You know, I was able to visit they call it the Mount of the Beatitudes, where Jesus spoke the Beatitudes, blessed are the meek, where he had that full crowd following him. And so Jesus could have just said, you know what, this is good right here. You know, I'm able to reach the Jews right now, and life is pretty good. Let's just keep it as it were. But they were able to send the crowd away in verse 36. And then they said, okay, they sent the crowd away. They got on the boat and they say it's time to cross over on the other side. And then they went ahead to the other side. They determined to go to the other side. However, just like in life, in 2017, I'm pretty sure, you know, we all determined to do some great things for God. And then here came obstacles, here came distraction, here came stress. And so with Jesus, it was no different, which is awesome because now we really have a true example. And so they got into the boat. They're getting ready to go to the other side, you know, move his ministry up to another level. Let's do this, guys. And then here comes a storm. And so in what verse was that? In verse 39, here comes a storm. I should know this by heart because that was my memory verse when I was a little girl. I remember I had to memorize that verse that Jesus arose and spoke to the wind and told it, peace be still. And so that just goes to show me that as Jesus is going, the enemy knew that Jesus was going to the other side to bring his ministry up to another level. And he already had a plan to stop him. And so just like you, if you think back to 2017, think for a moment. There are some things that prevented you from achieving everything that you set out to achieve. And at the end, I'll do some coaching and allow you to write down some things so we can reflect and see what hindrances we may have had, just so we don't fall into those traps again in 2018. We're going to be prepared in 2018. Okay, so we see that he sent the crowd away. I'm trying to take a look at my notes. And as they went ahead, they found that there was a storm. So what was interesting about the storm is, as the storm came, Jesus was in the boat just sleeping and relaxing. And so his disciples said, hey, do you not care that we're perishing and you're just here sleeping? And so the lesson I learned from that is, sometimes you take people with you, and if you're not careful, they can actually be a hindrance. They can create fear in you. And so instead of Jesus waking up frantically and saying, oh my gosh, we are perishing, there's actually a storm here. Guys, let's go back. Let's turn back to where it's safe. But that was not Jesus' response. He did not try to go back to where it was safe, nor did he agree with the disciples and say, oh my, I think we're about to perish. I think there is a storm. Instead, he spoke to the storm. Now that took boldness for Jesus to just stand up and say, he wasn't taken aback by, oh my gosh, I didn't see this storm coming. He knew distractions would come. So I want you to know today, even as you set your 2018 goals, I want you to know distractions will come. It's going to come. So the issue is, how do you confront it? How do you face distractions? So that's number 3. How do you handle distractions? When, not if, they come, you have to be prepared. And let's learn from Jesus. How did he do it? He was not shaken. He did not pay attention to the franticness, or is that a word? How frantic his disciples were. Did not pay attention to that. He just rose up in confidence, and then he's just said, peace be still. And what happened? We know that the wind ceased and the whole storm just stopped. And just the same thing, when you have obstacles in life and you face it, not run from it and not speak about it to say, oh yeah, this storm is great. But what you're going to say is, you're going to speak the situation that you want to happen. You're going to say, storm stop, or whatever it might be going on at your job, in your marriage, with your children, if you're having a difficult time with stress, with your health, I want to cover all areas. This isn't just for one area of your life. In each area of your life, when you try to do better, when you try to make gains, distraction comes in. All of a sudden, you may find yourself feeling sick. And you're like, well, I've been healthy all this time. How did I just all of a sudden get sick? And so sickness is the same thing. We know that Jesus spoke to the sick. He healed the blind, the maimed, and he used words. And for us, we just have to find faith-filled people who we can be around, who can speak those things for us so that we can fulfill the purpose God has for us. Because that's the ultimate goal. As I said, Jesus said, you're going to do greater things than I even did. He didn't even have the internet. I could sit here in my studio, and I could just say, speak the word and inspire you to step out and do what God has for you to do. And so that is a great tool, and that's just the beginning of things and ways that we could just use what we have to step out by faith and do great things for God. And so that was number 3.